Okay, somebody who's closer in age. Who was your Charles?
He's my uncle.
And who's your
My father is Charles.
who?
Which Charles it is?
I know. Give me a minute here. Did your Charles have an M last name, or is there a family name M, like McEnroe or Morrison? That sounds like that. What about one of the other Charles? Who is it?
His wife's family.
Okay, yeah, that's your Charles. Come on up then. And he's your father, correct?
No, he was my uncle.
Your uncle, okay, and you had the Charles father. Okay, but who's your Charles?
Grandfather.
Grandfather too? No, it's the Uncle Charles.
Oh, wow.
Yep. How are you? Good. It's okay. You wouldn't be the first. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Thanks. Real good.
Have you lost your mom too?
I have not.
Your mother-in-law?
No.
Okay, well, we'll talk with Charles first. Who else do you want to hear from?
My aunt.
Your aunt. Oh, no, she's like a mom to you.
She was.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is. Okay, first let me talk with Charles. What's your first name? Sorry.
I'm Karen.
Karen, good to meet you.
You too.
So first from Charles, he has got to do things right, and he's got to do things, like there's a certain protocol or
Always.
proper order with him. Yes. So he's kind of a man's man. He needs to speak first, and then he'll let your aunt talk. He's very, very gallant and, this kind of thing. But he wants you to know that there is a protocol, and there's a procedure, and then there's a manual, but then there's your heart, and he wants you to be more willing to trust your heart, especially when it comes to remembering stories about the family and finding your own peace with yourself and self-acceptance. He says just find it in the heart. It's not in a book, it's not in a manual, it's always right here. And that really goes with some of the family traditions and some of how you're maybe feeling responsible for the family members and, all the duties and obligations you put on yourself. Yep, Charles says you do what you can, you do it with love, and then that's always enough. And he just doesn't want to see you sacrifice yourself because you feel obligated to try to save everybody else. And
That's absolutely true.
But he wants to say that so that you'll take it to heart and maybe give yourself a little more room to breathe as compared to what you have in these past couple of years. He also says, and especially with your mom, she knows more and understands more than what you give her credit for. So just don't feel like, again, you have to save everybody else. There's no sense in that, he says. You just take good care of you. Did he ever smoke? Was he a smoker at some point?
He was not. That I remember, but he may have been in his younger days.
Was his, okay, give me a minute here. So you've got your aunt, and then there's another
My
older.
dad
Was a
huge
smoker.
Huge.
Okay, that's him. Are you open to hearing?
Of course.
Okay. And that's why he says, he's also echoing Charles' sentiment, is that there's no valor in sacrifice. You've got to take care of yourself. And he wants you to hear that you're worthy of that. And he says there were shortcomings on his part in communicating that and in conveying that spirit to you. But he only wants you to know that you deserve the best and that you're worthy of love. If he could have any wish, and believe me, he wants a lot of wishes, but if he could have just one, he says it's that you would know that you're worthy of love. And he says, please tell her to forgive me, that I wasn't always perfect. Far from it, but that there was love there, even though it was hidden, and even though it was obscured in a lot of other stuff. He says now there's just love. There's an October birthday or anniversary, and he's acknowledging that. You've tripped yourself up long enough, he says. I don't know if you were having trouble with your ankles or if you've had some foot and ankle trouble.
I have a problem with my foot.
Yes. And part of that is metaphysically, like you're tripping yourself up and afraid of what's going to go wrong next or what you're going to have to do.
Wow.
And your dad says, just walk forward in the light and know that you're walking in love and that these feet will get better. But he knows that and he sees that. there's an R like Ralph or Robert or Rod.
Robert.
Yeah, who your dad is acknowledging and who he's mentioning a connection with. There's this old fireplace too at your home when you were growing up. Did you guys have a fireplace?
I don't remember.
Do you have one in your home now?
I do.
Okay. Yeah. Were you just either cleaning out the fireplace or
My
rearranging?
fire pit. I have a fire pit in my
That's
yard.
it? That's it?
Yesterday I cleaned it out.
Your dad was there.
Yeah.
He's
Wow.
honoring that connection. And again, he's made peace with his life, but he does regret that you don't have as many memories of positive moments as what he'd like. So it's never too late. He says when you go out and light the fire in the fire pit, invite his spirit and let him be with you and create a new memory, create a new relationship with him. Because he says again, it's never too late. Now, he also would not have come through first because there's so much there. And he says now you can put down that and start a new relationship. It's never too late.
I know.
There's an April birthday or anniversary in the family too, and
Right.
your dad's acknowledging that. And there's an L, like Louise. That's your aunt? Yeah, she's there. She taught you how to be a lady. She says, and I see pearls, and she just says that part of who you are and part of who she inspired you to become was a lady. And there's a very strong spirit of grace that she embodies that you didn't see in the tension in your family and all that. And I know, she says you guys have been together in other lifetimes, believe it or not. And, she's kind of just tossing it out there. And she says you and she had been your mom in another lifetime, which is why you felt so close with her. And then I see that lifetime you guys were nurses together, so I just have to mention that. So you were very helping and healed other people. There's a November birthday or anniversary that she's recognizing, that your aunt is recognizing. And then there's these little tea party thing.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a teapot that was hers? Or like some little tea mugs and...
No, but we lived in England together.
Oh.
And tea was very
That
important.
was well, yeah, taking tea and all that.
Yeah, we did.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
We did.
Yes.
Wow.
That's
Just
her.
tell them how much I love her.
She knows. She knows. This would be a neat time. Maybe tomorrow, or maybe even today after the talk, you could have tea time, and though she's with you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and maybe get a little tea set, but she loves you tremendously. And your dad and your uncle, they are all so good, and they all love
Together,
you.
that's a shocker.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It's amazing.
But they're all, they have all their own, they're so busy, they don't really distract each other. But no, it's a good thing. And I will say, again, from your dad, let it be a new start to a new relationship and see him through the eyes of love instead of through the past. And then when it comes to your mom in the next couple of years, just ride the waves. Don't do more than you have to do. Just do what you feel good. And then first and foremost, take care of you. And then you'll know you're doing what God wants you to do and what your angels want you to do too.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you so much. Thank you. You're welcome.